Hi, this is Mrs. Nelson. We're looking at Unit 8, Lesson 6, Histograms. The objective says I can use a histogram to get information about the distribution of data and explain what it means in a real-world situation. So the graphic you see is called a histogram. It's a type of bar graph. You'll notice that the bars are right next to each other. There's no spaces in between them. That's because it's representing a range of numbers in between, in this case, 13 and 17 and a half. So we're not looking at individual data points, but rather where the data fits within that range. The question says, here is a histogram that summarizes the lengths in feet of a group of adult female sharks. Select all the statements that are true according to the histogram. The first statement says, a total of 9 sharks were measured. Well, I see 9 rectangles. But again, those rectangles are bins. Those aren't representing 9 sharks, and those are the lengths of the 9 sharks. But rather, if you look at the title that's on the x-axis, it says length in feet. So that's not representing 9 sharks, but rather 9 groupings of measurements. So that does not count. That is not correct. The next one says a total of 50 sharks were measured. Well, if we look on the y-axis, even though it's not labeled, that's indicating the total number of sharks in each of those measurement bins. So we can use the tick marks to indicate or to determine what those how many are in those bins. So we've got 1, 1, 4, 10, 10, 9, 10, 4, 1. If we add all those together, we would get a total of 50 sharks. So that second statement is true. The longest shark that was measured was 10 feet long. Okay, so I see a 10 on my page, on my graphic, but that 10 is actually, again, representing a number of sharks, but not the total measurement. And you'll notice that the range of measurements is between 13 and 17 and a half feet. So that was not correct. Most of the sharks that were measured were over 16 feet long. So if I look at 16 and higher, I can see that I have 10 plus 4 plus 1. That's 15 sharks that were 16 feet or longer. 15 is definitely not more than half of 50, so I can't use the word most. That is incorrect. The last statement says 2 of the sharks that were measured were less than 14 feet long. So again, looking on the x-axis, looking at those bins of measurements that are less than 14 feet, I do in fact have 2 sharks that are somewhere in between 13 and 14 feet, but not quite 14 feet long. So that statement is correct. Our objective says, I can use a histogram to get information about the distribution of data and explain what it means in a real-world situation. So we use this histogram about lengths of sharks to answer some questions, some data-related questions about those lengths of the sharks. Thanks for watching.